Guten Tag und herzliche Willkommen to this Via Traveler's list of 10 best things to do in Berlin, Germany. Germany is one of our favourite places to visit and is a wonderful country to travel through. Its capital city, Berlin, is a treasure trove of incredible architecture, unique historical landmarks, and stunning tourist sites for visitors to discover and enjoy. Berlin's constantly evolving political and ideological history make for some of the most compelling travel in Europe, especially in the city's historic district. Berlin is a place that holds many stories beneath the surface, and a visit to this magnificent city will leave a lasting effect on you. From local accounts of historical suffering and unimaginable hardship to modern tales of reconciliation and compassion, Berlin's story is among the most heartbreaking, encouraging, and certainly enthralling. Explore the remains of the Berlin Wall and its graffiti, admire the majesty of the Brandenburg Gate, or take a stroll around the tranquil grounds of Tiergarten. Berlin is among the best cities in the world for walking or cycling tours of the city, allowing tourists to take in the broad array of historical, architectural, and natural wonders that the city has to offer. Because of Berlin's unique storied history and broad cultural landscape, a visit to this incredible city will no doubt result in a well-rounded, memorable travel adventure. If we managed to tempt you so far, check out these 10 best things to do in Berlin and start planning your trip. Perhaps the most recognizable landmark in all of Germany, the neoclassical Brandenburg Gate in Berlin is a beautiful piece of architecture to visit while exploring Germany's capital. This grand old monument, inspired by the Propylaea in Athens, is easily recognizable from its 12 huge stone columns and statue of Victoria, the Roman goddess of victory, riding a horse-drawn chariot. The gate was built on the orders of Prussian King Frederick William II, after order had been restored in Berlin during the Batavian Revolution. It's a common misconception that the Brandenburg Gate was constructed as part of the city's defences. In fact, the Brandenburg Gate, known as the Peace Gate when construction began in 1788, sat on the site of several old customs gates that were entry points into the old Berlin customs wall, sort of like a city border where tariffs on imported goods could be collected. As the gigantic entrance onto Unter den Linden, or under the linden trees, a boulevard once lined with linden trees, the gate leads directly to the royal palace of the Prussian royal family. Brandenburg Gate has symbolized different things to Germans over the centuries, but nowadays it symbolizes the very same ideal in which it was originally meant to. If you want to pay the gate a visit and snap some incredible pics, you can find it in the western portion of the city centre, within Mitte, at Unter den Linden and Eberstraße, just west of Pariser Platz. Following your visit to the Brandenburg Gate, take a stroll around POTSDAMER PLATZ, a bustling square in central Berlin situated at the intersection of several major roads in the heart of the German capital, with its own convenient train station. Potsdamer Platz, or Potsdam Square, is named after the city of Potsdam, another magnificent German city you should visit if you ever get the chance. Potsdam Square has been used as a crossing, meeting, and trading point in the city since at least the mid-1600s. It maintains that role to this day, and enjoys the same sort of status as Piccadilly Square in London or Times Square in Manhattan. This huge square extends for over 1 kilometre, or around 1,100 yards, south of the iconic Brandenburg Gate and the German Parliament building, more commonly known as the Reichstag or Bundestag, and near the southeast corner of Tiergarten Park. That makes Potsdam Square among Europe's largest city squares. Most of the old buildings surrounding the square were destroyed during the Second World War, and the square would then suffer the indignity of the Berlin Wall cutting it in two. It was only after reunification in 1990 that the former wasteland was transformed into an entirely new neighbourhood, breathing new life into the square once more. It is a must-see part of Berlin, as it is a great jumping-off point filled with restaurants, shops, movie theatres, and surrounded by some pretty fantastic post-unification architecture. No visit to Berlin is complete without a trip to the Berlin Wall Memorial, where one of the last sections of the Berlin Wall has been preserved to remember one of the city's most heart-wrenching chapters. In the heart of Berlin, on Bernauer Straße, the enormous memorial spans for just under a mile along the former border that carved the city in two. A tour to the memorial is like taking a walk back in time, and it should definitely be part of every historical tour of the city. The memorial is a significant open-air museum on the former border strip that spans several main locations, including a visitor centre, a church, and an observation tower. Each site contains historical audio and photographic materials to tell the story of why and how the Berlin Wall was built, and the story of the two very different Berlins the wall created. As soon as you arrive at the memorial, you should hit up the visitor center, where you can see a short film about the Berlin Wall's history and explore a few other fascinating exhibits that cover this trying chapter in German history. The Berliner Fernsehturm, or Berlin TV Tower, is one of the city's most notable landmarks, no doubt because it's the tallest structure in town. In fact, it's the tallest building in Germany, the third tallest building in the EU, and the fourth tallest freestanding building on Earth. Still home to several radio and TV broadcasts, the tower is one of Berlin's most popular tourist attractions open to the public. The Berlin TV Tower soars 368 meters into the sky and provides a bird's-eye overview of the city, making it a fantastic spot to take pictures. Constructed in only 4 years, the Berlin TV Tower was dedicated on October 3, 1969, just in time for East Germany's 20th anniversary celebrations. The express elevator at the Berlin TV Tower whisks passengers to the observation platform, perched high above the city in less than 40 seconds. Berlin City Hall, the Rotes Rathaus, Museum Island, the Berlin Cathedral, and the Brandenburg Gate are among the sights easily spotted from the tower. For some real eye candy, try visiting the tower at night. The fantastic glow and sparkle of the city lights at night is among the best views to behold during your tour of Berlin. Whether you're a biking beginner or pedaling pro, we totally recommend biking through the city's historic grounds as one of the most enjoyable things to do in Berlin. Bike tours are very common and super popular in Berlin, and it is the best way to visit a wide variety of outstanding historic structures, landmarks, and tourist attractions without paying an arm and a leg, both of which you need for cycling. Biking provides you with the opportunity to engage in some outdoor recreation while also taking in a sightseeing excursion. Plus, it'll help you work off all that Wurst, Schnitzel, and beer. Riding through Berlin, you'll get to know some of the city's top attractions on the fly. As you pedal your own path through the city, or as part of a riding tour, you can take in the sights and sounds of Berlin's beauty, as well as the energetic spirit of the city. It is a unique and rewarding experience like no other to bike across Berlin. Take a ride along the Berlin Wall Memorial, the Brandenburg Gate, POTSDAMER PLATZ, Checkpoint Charlie, and other popular attractions. It's certainly the most active way to learn about the city's history, from its darker chapters as the seat of Nazi power, to its episode as a city divided during the Cold War, and finally, to the modern-day metropolis it is today. Walking through the Grosse Tiergarten and taking in the vistas is one of the most enjoyable things to do in Berlin if you're looking to slow the pace a little. In addition to being a green oasis in the heart of the city, it is the most visited park in Berlin. Located in the city centre, neighbouring major tourist attractions such as the Brandenburg Gate and Potsdamer Platz. First opened as a public garden in 1740, Grosse Tiergarten, or the Great Zoological Garden, is a great place to stop after or before visiting the city's other attractions. Stepping off the street and into the Tiergarten is like stepping into another world. A whopping 210 hectares, or about 520 acres of forested grounds make up the park, making it the third largest public garden in Germany after the Englischer Garten, or English Garden in Munich, and the Tempelhofer Park, which is also in Berlin. As a frame of reference for you English speakers, Tiergarten is slightly larger than London's enormous Hyde Park. At the East Side Gallery, commonly known as ASG, that's ESG to you and me, you'll find Berlin's art scene in full swing on the longest unbroken piece of the Berlin Wall that still remains. On Mühlenstraße, between the Berlin Ostbahnhof and the Oberbaumbrücke along the Spree River, there is a memorial, an open-air exhibit dedicated to the souls who tried and failed to cross the wall, but were captured and or murdered by East German border guards. Following the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, hundreds of artists from across the world flocked to the city to convert the bleak remains of this once loathed structure into a work of art. The Kunstmeile, or Art Mile, is a collection of more than 100 artworks by 118 artists from 21 various nations, all of which are on display, celebrating freedom of expression, peace, and Germany's rebirth. While visiting Berlin, you should include Checkpoint Charlie on your itinerary. It is a must-see attraction for anyone interested in Berlin's Cold War history. You may already recognize it, as it's featured in Cold War films such as Octopussy, The Spy Who Came in from the Cold, Bridge of Spies, and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Constructed as part of the Berlin Wall, Checkpoint Charlie bordered part of the American zone of Berlin, as the only crossing point for foreigners and members of the Allied forces should they need to cross into East Berlin. Head over to Berlin's Museum Island to admire the majesty of the Berlin Cathedral, known as the Berliner Dom, which is the city's most prominent Protestant church. Built on the site of several previous churches, Emperor Wilhelm II ordered the construction of the current cathedral on this site in 1894, with construction finishing in 1905. Designed by Julius Raschdorf, the cathedral is a superb example of Baroque and Renaissance revival architecture. Head inside to gaze at the intricate architectural and decorative patterns that decorate the church's interior, which are particularly impressive. Located in the heart of the city, the cathedral is easily recognized by its massive dome topped with a lantern bearing a golden cross, flanked by 4 smaller towers. This beautiful dome, from which the cathedral gets its name, is among the most recognizable features in the city. It's also home to some of the most culturally important noble dynastic tombs in Europe, notably the German house of Hohenzollern, as well as a magnificent restored pipe organ. Museum Island is a great place to visit in Berlin just for the cathedral alone. But when you're there, think about visiting some of the other brilliant attractions here, such as the Altes Museum, or Old Museum, the Neues Museum, or New Museum, the Alte Nationalgalerie, the Old National Gallery, the sculptures of the Bode Museum, the Pergamon Museum, and the new Humboldt Forum in the Berlin Palace. While visiting Berlin, do not forget to visit the Memorial to the Murdered Jews of Europe. This stark, haunting memorial found in the heart of Berlin near the Brandenburg Gate and close to the Jewish Museum was dedicated in 1998 to the memory of the millions of European Jews who were murdered under the Nazi regime from 1933 to 1945. Peter Eisenman and Buro Happold collaborated on the memorial's design that has become one of the most significant landmarks in Berlin, particularly to Jewish victims and survivors of the Holocaust. The memorial consists of 2,711 concrete slabs of varying heights in a grid on a 19,000 square meter field. The memorial is situated on a slight incline, and its wave-like shapes appear to change depending on where you stand. Information about the victims and their locations is presented in an information bureau next to the memorial. Short biographies, as well as photographs and film footage depicting the locations of persecution or extermination, apply human faces and stories to this grim reminder of how cruel people can be to one another. While the Holocaust will forever be Germany's shame, this poignant and sobering memorial is a necessary step taken towards reconciliation with the past, the future, and the world's Jewish community. Berlin is a vibrant city and is blessed with natural and man-made beauty, iconic landmarks, magnificent architecture, and oodles of history, both bad and good. There are tons of beautiful sights to see, things to explore, delicacies to try, and lessons to learn in Berlin, making the German capital popular with tourists and a favorite destination for us at VIA travelers. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to follow us on Instagram using our handle at VIA Travelers, or check out our blog at viatravelers.com.